Scott Roush on pole for the round of Myrtle Beach as we are green here for the 180 lap event for tonight's race. Roush gets off to a pretty good start as he leads the field off turns 1 and 2. Bradley Bishop Jr. will follow as he passes Corey Williams on the inside line. Entering turns 3 and 4. Roush looking to be very threatening tonight in the AC Delco number 3 machine, as he's yet to win a race this year. However, it wouldn't be long until Corey Williams closes in on the 3. Championship leader is trying to do everything he can to extend his point lead. He's only about 6 points ahead of his rivals at this time, which is certainly a cause for concern for Williams, as he cannot afford any more mistakes through tonight. Meanwhile, Justin Johnson, last night's winner in the Napa Pro Series, runs about 41st. Not the most ideal start in the world, but it's good to mention that Johnson did win this race last night after a close finish with James Ellison. But once again, less than ideal start for the 35. Meanwhile, our first retirement of the night will be Peter Onjak in a 66. It's as if Maverick GP season couldn't get any worse. They've had a pretty abysmal year with all these mechanical failures they've been having of late, and well, this only makes it worse. And another last place finish for Onjak. Meanwhile, Vance Caldwell has set the fastest lap times thus far of tonight. He's closing in by 1/10 or 2 a lap on Williams and Roush. So it looks like Vance Caldwell has a great long-run car to maybe try to challenge the top 2. But a race leads him safe and ahead by over 2 seconds. And we're just about 1/8 of the event through. The lap 32, Scott Roush and Corey Williams have already encountered lap traffic as they've already dispatched from Will Goss. Williams gives Roush a little bit of a tap, letting him know he's faster than the 3. Now they have to negotiate with James Silverfox, Bobo Jones, and it looks like that was Brandon Krasta just entering the frame. But Roush and Williams are playing patience as they just run single file to dispatch all the last cars so they can duke it out for the lead themselves. Jones, now the next car to deal with for Roush. Roush having a little bit of trouble finding a perfect time to get to his inside. Does so on entry. He's got Krasta and Cody Goforth to negotiate as well. Brandon Krasta also had a less than ideal start, to say the least. As for Cody Goforth, the same would go to him, but he's not as bad or worse off as his teammate. But look at this, Vance Caldwell is now about 8/10 back from the top 2, and while he's getting held up at this time, I don't think it's going to stop him taking the lead. Williams to the inside of Roush. This will be a first lead change out tonight. Looks like Williams will have the advantage on the exits of turns 3 and 4. And he does. Corey Williams will lead the lap and once again have her first lead change for tonight. Roush trying to defend off the outside line, but it's just not a strong line at all. The inside's a little bit more advantageous. Roush tried to switch back, and Williams a little late on the entry to turns 3 and 4. That could have allowed Roush to regain the lead, but now has to regroup and stick behind the championship leader as Williams now negotiates with the 62 of Kev Shearer, who's, I believe, is running in the top 30. That's about as how that only shows how much faster the top tier cars are than the midfielders. It's a bit of a surprise to see Alexander Rowe and Vince Freeze also struggle at this track. They typically are front runners as well. That does not seem to be the case for tonight. As you see, is that Vance Caldwell? I see, yep, that's Caldwell in the 24. We're going to close in on Corey Williams and Scott Roush. Williams wastes no time in getting down the inside of Rowe. Entering turns 3 and 4 as we head into lap number 42 of 180. Roush now going to try to peek at the inside. Williams gets held up by Vince Freeze. This is perfect for Roush to retake the lead. But now he's going to look for Caldwell in his mirror. And he is all over the back bumper as Caldwell is very fast. Looks like the Texas Autosport Team Motors is working in favor of Caldwell. And while Caldwell gives Roush a bump on the exit of 2, gets Roush's car out of shape as Caldwell takes advantage of this and takes the lead for himself. Vance Caldwell in the Texan Autosports target number 24. I'm unsure if he's won a race this year, but that was a brilliant move by the number 24, and yeah, he has yet to win a race this year. I just had a look at that. 95 of Blaze McKinney is going to go a lap down as well. Brilliant stuff for Vance Caldwell to regain from about 2.5 seconds to the lead. We would have our first caution as Vince Freeze gets a little bit impatient with the 93 of Griffin Lapham McDermott. McDermott comes back up the track into Freeze and Kev Shearer, who would flip once. And that would be the end of the night for Kev Shearer. Alright, then Jeff James gets involved, so it's Alex Bianca, who runs second in the championship. This is not what he needed at all. Jeff James and Kev Shearer would retire as a result of this incident. As a result of a pretty messy pit stops under yellow and confusion with a lot of the back markers, many of the drivers were caught trapped a lap down, and William Brock would take the lead at the tail end of the lead lap, as Stephen Jenkins and Aiden Shepard would go lap down, as well as Kevin Black and Max Lutger. But this is a pretty good cushion for Vance Caldwell to extend his lead a little bit further if he so wanted to. Caldwell has no intentions of looking back anytime soon, as Vignacco exits from pit road. It appears that he's had more problems with the car since that first caution. But I digress. Caldwell looks very dominating in that 24-4 tonight so far. Meanwhile, we have a near incident occurring between Ross Jackson and Stratus DePaylor as DePaylor gets shunted into the inside wall off of turn 2. And this was not a battle for position, no less. Hannah Allen does the same with Colin Black, except that's in a little bit more courteous manner. Jackson would be called to the hauler for that, but Allen would not, despite having incurred penalties from last week. Our next caution would be for Will Goss, as his Delta 01 full frontal Motorsports number 1 has a mechanical failure. He will stop on the front straight, coming to the end of lap 71 into lap 72. We'd have another caution immediately after, as Ian Dutta lost patience with Jarrett Gross. Hannah Allen flips over a couple of times. Gross hit the end of the pit wall to trigger that wreck. And that was a pretty inexcusable wreck there by Ian Dutta, especially if this wreck would occur immediately after the restart with the lap traffic. Dutta would then be called to the hauler immediately after. Caldwell leads on the restart with Jeffrey White immediately moving to the inside of William Brock, who is a lap down. White could be the next challenger to the 24's current dominance of tonight. But Caldwell isn't going to make every attempt he can to run away with this race. And Jeffrey White, I affirm to believe, has not won a race this year. Jeffrey White has had a bit of a history of getting canned from teams of late. Meanwhile, James Shelley and Corey Williams almost had an incident on the exit of turn 2 on lap 86. But this does allow Shelley to get to the inside of Kyle Bisceglia, in which they're both in the top 5 or top 4 in the Drivers' Championship. So with them needing to be ahead of Corey Williams, every spot counts at this vantage point. Though Bisceglia is giving the 71 a fair fight for what is 7th place. Caldwell negotiates the 93 of Griffin Lapa McDermott. He is very slow, well over a second off the race pace. As Jeffrey White continues to try to chase down on the number 24 of Caldwell. Caldwell once again showing the Texan Texan Autosport muscle for the events of tonight's race. So Caldwell may be looking to challenge for Curtis Racing here in a little bit. Caldwell on lap 109 now negotiates with the lap traffic of Brandon Crasta, Blaze McKinney, and Cole Baker, who is several laps down from damage incurred under caution. As Colin Black leads this pack of slow cars. But no problems here for Vance Caldwell, as him and White are just doing whatever they can to negotiate with the lap cars as best they can. It doesn't appear that the lap cars will be as much of a pain as last night's race was with the lap cars. But I digress on that as well. Jeffrey White continuing to try to close in little by little on Caldwell, as he may be wearing his tires out rather quickly. We had another caution. Anthony Marchesi turns the 17 of Kyle Bisceglia into the end of the pit wall. Bisceglia could not regain control of that car, and that incident in itself was uncalled for. Let's have a look on board with Marchesi. Bisceglia does slide up the track, only so slightly, and he just doesn't let up at all, allowing for Bisceglia to lose control of the steering and run into the end of the pit wall. Now under pit stops under yellow. Oh, Vance Caldwell gets hit by Jeffrey White. I think this is a tactic from the 11 team, and yes it is. Jeffrey White gets the lead off pit road. Now this is something you don't see every day. But Caldwell is in no way happy about this one, as Jeffrey White would lead the field to the restart. Caldwell trying to spend no time in trying to pass the number 11. Noah Hart will try to make a pass as well. Sean Angel started from near the back of the grid as, championship leader Corey Williams has a problem. Trouble for car number 14. And the team could not have picked a worse time to get sloppy in their mechanics, as Ross Jackson, what on earth was that? As Stephen Jenkins clips and turns to 14. Oh, and Gatlin Downey and Justin Johnson are collected as well. And this is going to do him in for tonight. Corey Williams is out of the race as Brandon Crasta gets turned around by Black Slugger in the midst of the chaos that ensues, and gets hit by Blaze McKinney to boot. That kind of just sums up Brandon Crasta's night, but championship leader Corey Williams is done. And this will be huge championship implications for him. Meanwhile, Gatlin Downey, speaking of, gets a little tired of Will Goss and Andy Shepard as he hits the 01 around and puts Shepard into the end of the pit wall. Downey would be called to the hauler for that, and that was one of the most egregious things I've seen out of the 55 tonight. Vance Caldwell would have a problem under caution. The dominant car of the night has to come down pit road, as none of the leaders had any plans in coming down. This will be a huge blow to Caldwell, who led 69 laps tonight, and this will be the most amount of laps he would lead anyhow. White would lead on the restart with Edward Ziemba, the Napa Pro Series star, in tow. Noah Hart third, Tim Fiegel. Oh, look at this three-wide situation. Bradley Bishop Jr. and James Shelley nearly get together. Bishop Jr. would inherit the fourth position, it looks like. But Ziemba going to try everything he can in the Aris number 60 from Rodriguez Racing to dispatch the 11. Run race lead once again to have a different, or some sort of different lead change through the night. As our leaders thus far have been Chevrolet, if you hadn't already noticed. Noah Hart beginning to fall a little short of the top two. Ziemba continuing to try to chase him down, but can't really mount a charge for race lead yet. Alex Vignacco gets into the back of Colin Black, which would trigger the next caution, as Alexander Rowe doesn't quite pay attention to Vignacco coming back up the track, as Vignacco would end up upside down in turns 3. He'll need to top back to bits, and he gets hit by Gatlin Downey to boot. No one would pit under caution as White would lead once again. Bishop Jr. managed to dispatch Noah Hart, as well as James Shelley, who managed to do the same. Scott Roush trying to hold off Anthony Marchese, who's already been called to the hauler for his shenanigans earlier this evening. But White thus far is trying to redeem himself from being released from Yamp Motorsports in the Cup Series. Hopefully this will allow for him to develop more in Curtis Racing as a driver, which I have reason to believe it will. As looks like Edward Damer is under pressure from Bradley Bishop Jr. in the 44. He's won the last 2 races of recent, and it looks like Bishop could go for a 3rd. That'd be interesting to see if that were to happen, because this would shoot Bishop Jr. Much further up in the championship points. He could effectively take the point lead, for all I know, if he does end up winning this race tonight. Zama again trying to mount a charge on Jeffrey White, just cannot manage to sneak by him on the inside. Though White does get a poor exit off 3 and 4, this would be advantageous for Zama to go in, but his inexperience did not allow him to take advantage of that. Oh, and here's Alex Bignacco exiting from pit road. And is he going to try to re-enter it? Oh, what are you doing? Whoa, 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 oh, and that's Scott Roush collected. And I have no idea what Alex Bignacco was thinking. There was no possible way he would have made it without causing an accident, especially with Scott Roush. Roush would be understandably furious with the 8 team, as that was his teammate, actually. White would lead once again on the restart. Zama looked like he had a much better restart, however, still could not manage to get by on the inside at all. It's not really as if Zama has a bad car, it's more or less his inexperience is not allowing him to take advantage of the lead. He's cracking under pressure, to be blatantly honest with you, from the other more experienced H&S drivers like James Shelley, Sean Angel, and Bradley Bishop Jr. Angel has had a great night so far, after starting nearly in the back of the grid. Several laps later, White would encounter lap traffic with Gatlin Downey, whom he's one of many drivers that could face penalties after tonight. Zamba and Bishop Jr. are having no trouble with the lap cars at all, as most of the lap traffic actually being a lot more courteous than what most short track lap cars would be. I don't know, that kind of takes the professionalism of H&S, or excuse me, that actually places H&S professionalism to a higher level, for the most part anyway. Zamba now under pressure from Bradley Bishop Jr., who, need I say again, has won the last 2 races in the Hardee's National Series. Though, as if he's being pressured by Sean Angel, it may look like that he's trying to hold up the 44 to allow Angel to make a pass on him, but that's a little too late at this point, as Bishop Jr. does have an inside line run on the 60 and easily dispatches him a 2nd. Clearly, it looks like the 44 could be a threat to win a 3rd race in a row for tonight, as Sean Angel is going to try to dispatch his teammate of 3rd as well. And as the 44 will try to chase down as best he can. Ross Jackson isn't done wrecking people yet, as he turns the 55 into pit road, collects William Brock and Max Lutger with nowhere to go, runs into the back of him, and need I say that Jackson was already called to the hauler for shenanigans earlier on, and this is not going to help his case in any way. With coming to 3 laps to go now on the restart, Jeffrey White does have a pretty poor restart. Here comes Bradley Bishop Jr. to the inside, entering turns 3 and 4. Bishop trying to mount a late race charge on number 11. 2 to go now. Bishop has the inside line advantage. Is he going to make a pass on the 11? And he easily noses him out. Exiting turn 2, Sean Angel is in 3rd, looking to probably chase the leaders down as well. And exiting turns 3 and 4, caution is out. This means Bishop Jr. just won this race. And we'll have to look at what triggered this last yellow, as it looks like Paul Jackson hooked Steven Jenkins, and then Vince Freeze hooked William Brock into the 90 as Ross Jackson once again gets collected in this mess. And at a whopping 45 miles an hour, Bradley Bishop Jr. will win his 3rd race in a row here at Myrtle Beach. Congratulations to Bishop for mounting a last minute pass to win this race. White will come home 2nd after leading 66 laps. Angel in 3rd. Anthony Marquez in 4th, though I would expect penalties out of this one. Edward Diamond will get his first top 5 on a short track in the number 60, so he's finally proving his talents to come to fruition here, though he would have liked to win, much to his chagrin. James Shelley comes home in 6th. This would allow him to take the championship lead out exiting this race. Jack Porkins in 7th, Tim Beagle finishing 8th. J.J. Roberts ran a pretty quiet top 10, and Julio Caesar would round out your top 10, as Noah Hart would have fallen outside the top 10. Ian Dutta in 12th, Vance Caldwell in 13th, Scott Roush, first car 1 lap down in 14th, Paul Jackson in 15th place, Ross Jackson 16th, Alexander Rowe 17th, Vince Freeze 18th, Stratus DePaler 19th, and rounding out your top 20 is William Brock.